All right, good afternoon. We are here with Joan Hanscom, Executive Director at Valley Preferred Cycling Center. Joan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to chat.
Good, yeah, and I know we're neighbors, so I feel like I could wave to you out the window and we might be able to see one another. So I know you're not a Lehigh Valley native, and you moved to the Lehigh Valley for your current position and role. So if you could just talk a little bit about your journey and background and kind of how you came to be here in the Lehigh Valley.
Sure. So I have a long background in event production, and way back in the early 2000s, I was working for AOL Time Warner as a project coordinator, project manager, but was sort of unhappy in that job for myriad reasons, but I really was into bike racing at the time. And so I randomly sent an email to some folks that were producing the biggest races in the country at the time and said, you should hire me. Here's all my great experience. And they did. And that has launched, I guess, an 18-year career in professional bike racing for me since then. So I worked in Philadelphia on the big race series there. We've done races in San Francisco, New York. And at some point I transitioned over into working in cyclocross, which is a different type of cycling discipline. And that somehow led to producing the World Championships in Louisville, Kentucky, which was interesting because we made history. We were the first time the cross worlds ever left Europe. So that was fun. And then after that, I went to work for a German brand that makes bike helmets and bike locks. And that was a super fun sidetrack out of the racing world, but into the sort of the industry side of bikes and bike racing. And so I enjoyed going to Germany for several years in a row for work. That was fun, but I always missed bike racing. And USA Cycling had an opening for somebody really that worked with event directors, event promoters. And I thought, well, golly, I'd be really good at that job. And so I applied and I went out and I worked for USA Cycling. And again, that job, it was great. I loved working for the Federation. I learned a ton, but I wasn't hands-on with bike racing, which is what's always really made me happy, the event side of it. And so when the opportunity came to come to T-Town and return to a real racing environment, return to a real iconic venue, in our sport, T-Town is globally recognized. And it was just, as they said to me in my job interview, it'd be like becoming executive director of the New York Yankees. But for track cycling, that's sort of, T-Town's in that pantheon. So how do you turn that down?
Sure.
So I left Colorado to come to the Lehigh Valley to really return to my roots, which is producing bike races, which is really what I love the most.
And I know we've worked together in a few different capacities, but mostly in the form of getting events out to the velodrome. And one thing that I've had to explain, I feel, time after time to people, because I get excited about the velodrome and talking about it, but not everyone really knows what a velodrome is. So if you could just describe what the velodrome is out at T-Town in maybe one sentence.
It's a concrete oval that's 333 meters in length. So all they do in racing at the velodrome is go around and around and around and around really fast. It's a highly technical sport. It's not like what you do outside on the trails. It's highly technical, highly specialized, and it is the nichiest of the cycling disciplines. So it's not a surprise that people don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's the thing that I've learned so much about cycling is there are so many disciplines involved. And so out of the track, you not only host professional athletes, but it ranges from amateur to youth to collegiate. So can you talk about just a little bit about the programming that exists out of the track?
That's one of the coolest things about the track is that its name is the Valley Preferred Cycling Center, and I like to think we actually live up to being a cycling center. Our programs for kids start at age 5 in the Pee Wee Peddlers and the Squirts and Weeble Wobbles. And so those programs have nothing to do with track racing, and they have everything to do with just teaching kids how to ride bikes. And then they evolve into our Bicycle Racing League, which is a program to teach kids who are so inclined to learn how to race on the track. Then they graduate into another program, Team T-Town, where they get to, race a bit more in USA Cycling type races. So we have a whole like spectrum. We have adult programming. One of the things that I launched when I got here was Women's Wednesdays, because it can be an intimidating place, steep concrete bankings and bikes with no brakes, no gears. So we launched Women's Wednesdays as a program to get more women on track. It's been a huge success. But then, like you said, we have amateur racing, masters and rookies on Saturday for the real beginners and the folks who have been in the sport a long time. And Tuesdays are real pro-am amateur night. And then Friday nights are our big show. Unfortunately, we were a little impacted by COVID this year, but we are fully planning 2021 and beyond to go back to our big race schedules like we normally do. So it's a pretty busy place.
Yeah, you've created, and every time I've been out there, whenever I try to capture video or photography of the cyclists coming around, I feel like I have to put my video in slow-mo because that really captures it. They come by too fast. But you have a really nice viewing area that you've kind of created as part of your entertainment value. So can you talk a little bit about what the entertainment, or if I were to go out to the velodrome, what I could expect?
Yeah, if you're going to come out on a Friday night in a normal season, we have the party porch. Funk Brewing sponsored our party porch, so you can sit up on the deck and turn forward and be right up close to the racing. Like they literally go by your face when you're sitting up there, and it's a real festive atmosphere. You have a great view of the finish line. It's just a really fun place to sit, cafe tables and relaxed. And then we have grandstands for the folks who want to be right on the finish line. We have grandstand seating. And then for a lot of the people who've been around for a long time, they line up along the boards around the track because they have their spot that they like to watch everything. So, you come out, grab snacks at the concession stand, grab a beer from the beer stand. We have vendors in the plaza on Fridays, whether it's kettle corn or smoothies or whatever, and then just sit in a nice warm summer night and watch bike racing. And it's really like a nice night out, right? Like what's not to like about sitting outside on a Friday night in the summertime and watching some really fast action? It's fun.
Sometimes I feel guilty because when I've been out there, I'm sitting back relaxing, drinking a beer, and then you see the athletes like putting their all into these races. But you're right, though, it is a relaxing kind of environment to wind down at the end of the week. So I look forward to 2021, and I know your season just came to an end, so you'll be kicking off next year. So when does the season typically run?
So our season typically runs May through August. So we did run a reasonably normal schedule for the season with programs and racing. It looked a little different this summer, but we're following a normal timeline for the season. So that was good. We literally just had our last races on Sunday. So that's a wrap on 2020, and the programs wind down this week. We'll be open for training for the athletes who need to keep training for the next couple months, but it gets real quiet. Yesterday we were joking. It's like, oop, turn the off switch on, the parking lot. So now it's all steam ahead on 2021.
Good. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I know we have a few cool things in the works, and so it'll hopefully be an exciting year next year. So I know you're not a Lehigh Valley native, and nor am I, but when I moved here, I had friends and family who said, okay, we're going to come visit you. So I want to ask you, whenever a friend or a family member comes and visits, what does your itinerary look like? What do you take them to do, to see? Where do you eat? That sort of thing.
So it's going to be a really boring and predictable answer because I have no work-life balance. All my friends are bike racers, so
makes sense.
So I usually take them out riding, and one of the really attractive things about moving here in particular is that the riding here is just top notch. So out by the velodrome, the road riding is spectacular. You're going through like Mennonite country too, so you're out on your road. You see the horse and buggy, and the roads are terrific, really light traffic. There's great gravel riding out that way too, so a lot of my friends are into gravel. So bringing friends in to just experience the great gravel, the climbing out there, it's terrific. And so I'm a nerd. I show them the great roads, and we ride bikes. But living downtown, it's nice because there's so much within walking distance. So personally, I'm a big Bell Hall fan. They make a very nice Manhattan. So just as a FYI. So usually it's one of those like, hey, let's ride bikes and then have a good meal and a cocktail or two. But I like to stay within walking distance. So downtown's got some options, which is nice.
I agree. And that's one thing that I've loved about living. I know we're kind of neighbors, but living downtown, the walkability, but then knowing that you can be in this urban environment, but then like you're saying, you can be on some amazing trails or out on some roads that are not super well traveled and be on your bike. And so while I'm not a full on cyclist, I do definitely have a bike, and it's been fun to experience Lehigh Valley by way of a bicycle for sure.
Even just going down to the canal path, right? It's so easy to get to from downtown. You hop on the path. You can go to Jim Thorpe. You can go to Easton, and I'm prone to doing those kind of rides once a week, just to. Oh, well, the world's fastest cat just went by.
That's right.
Yeah, he's not going to cooperate.
No, that's totally fine. I want to talk a little bit about. I know the past couple of months, it sounds like you all were able to pull off a season. I'm sure it had some changes to what it typically looks like, but for you as a person, have you developed in just the past couple of months any new skill sets or honed in on anything that you think has been of value or interesting?
I think what was really great about this season was, to your point, we were able to run a season, which a lot of places have not been able to. We got real good at Zoom, like everybody else on the planet, but we also started to really grow our community both digitally and locally. So that growth of our digital community has been really, really tremendous. We've seen a lot of engagement with our community, both local and international. So that's terrific. And as a result, we're going to expand a little bit. We're trying really hard to become a 12-month-a-year relevant organization. Even if there's snow on the track surface, we want to still be relevant. So we're launching a podcast this fall, really talking about T-Town, talking about track cycling more broadly, pulling in some pretty interesting guests. So that's a whole new skill set for me. We'll be podcasting. Stay tuned. We'll see how that goes. But I think that's really one of the great takeaways, is that we were able to grow our community this year. And I think that's a real silver lining in a weird year.
Yeah, I think, and just compliments to you and your team out at Valley Preferred Cycling Center. What we've always tried to do with, when we promote the Lehigh Valley, we say if you book your event here or sporting event here, it will be a memorable experience for all. And now I think while that still exists, we've positioned we need to communicate that safety will be involved as well as a memorable experience. And we try to keep everyone as informed as possible. And you've done just a fabulous job of keeping, your followership as well as just the community informed as to what's going on out at T-Town, as well as keeping things safe, but also creating a memorable experience. So it's been really nice to watch you kind of lead that charge.
I'll say, like, on Sunday when we wrapped up, we did a records attempt day. So it was because people trained all summer real hard with not a lot of racing options anywhere in the country. But we had athletes in from Colorado, from California. We had athletes in from New England. So people came from all over to spend their summer at T-Town, even though it wasn't a normal season. And so our record attempt day on the last day was really great. And people had a lot of stoke for it because they got to put all that training to the test. But the real takeaway from that was, they were really thankful to have the opportunity, but at least I'd say 50 people said to me, thank you for giving us a fun place to play bikes safely all summer. And I think, that really meant a lot to me, because we put a lot of work into it to keep it feeling safe and to keep it safe. But so the fact that people were appreciative of that, and we established that with our community, was really it felt great after a long hot summer of time trials.
Yeah.
It was really nice to hear that people were stoked on it. So
Yeah, and
so
is
thank you for recognizing that.
definitely recognized for sure. So I again, we just look forward to next year and to see how things kind of pan out and how even things evolve and shift, and looking forward to the podcasts and, you know, whatever kind of comes of that. So exciting stuff. I know you have an international, you know, acclaim and followership. So it's really exciting to have that here just in the Valley.
And they're all clamoring to come back. So hopefully everything goes well, and we have our big international show. And in addition to a really strong local community, you know, that's coming out to race. One of the things in 2020 is that a lot of people rediscovered their bikes. So hopefully our programs are a place for folks who want to hone those bike skills on the bikes that they dug out of the basement or the new bikes they bought. And, you know, we're a great place to do that and ride safely on the road. So
Definitely.
yeah. I'm looking forward to 2021. I think we can do a lot here.
Yes. I've got to come out and do the Wednesday event.
Yeah, Wednesdays.
Yes. Yeah. No breaks. I got to get prepared for that, but it'll be fun.
I think you can do it.
Yeah.
If I can do it, you can do it.
Sure. So I want to kind of shift us into what I think is going to be a fun little round. It's what I'm calling the lightning round, but I realize that the word lightning may not be the best word when you're out at a velodrome. So is there any other word like jargon when for track cyclists that means like high speed?
I think lightning round is okay.
Okay, good. All right, we're going to go for it.
Right on.
So, okay, you've already answered a few in my questions, but we're going to go sour or sweet?
Neither. Salty.
Wow. Okay. You're changing the game already, and that was our first question.
Sorry.
Okay, salty. Okay, surf or turf?
Surf.
What'd you say?
Surf.
Surf. Okay. And we're going, I know you mentioned that Manhattan, but shaken or stirred?
Shaken.
Oh, okay. Very good. Let's go sweater weather or tank top season?
Tank top, 100%.
Got it. Okay. And let's go road bike or mountain bike?
Road bike.
Okay. All right. And a place that you want to visit again ASAP?
Oh. Huh. I want to visit Spain again ASAP.
Spain. Okay, where in Spain?
Mallorca.
Ah, very good. And so have you been just once or multiple times?
Only once, and I'm dying to go back. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's it for the lightning round.
Lightning round.
We keep it pretty painless, but we really do appreciate you in the Lehigh Valley, Joan. I think you're just a wonderful asset to not only the cycling community, but really showing what is made possible here. And the fact that you moved here to lead the charge out there at the Valley Preferred Cycling Center is awesome. And you're really doing some great things. And we just appreciate the partnership.
Well, thanks. 2 years in now, and I don't regret the choice. So
yeah, good. All right. Thanks so much, Joan.
Thanks, Bree.